point, is there heaven and hell?
Well, let's start with hell. Hell was created by the church, by people. And how it evolved was in olden times when somebody misbehaved or did something against whoever was in power, burning at the stake was one of the methods used to get rid of those who they considered evildoers. Now, if you've ever sat and watched someone burn alive, which is not a pleasant thing, it's impactful. That's why they started to burn people, because they wanted them to think, okay, this is hell. You burn in hell. People would bring their children to it to say, look, this is what happens when you don't behave. And what the church would say or take with this was the burning, suffering stops when the person dies. But if you are immediately sent to hell where there's eternal fire, you'll burn and suffer like that forever. And it's not a pretty sight. But people would bring their young children to this so that they would understand what consequence was. And we think that the burning at the stake was created by the church or the powers that be to keep everyone in line. And there's nothing more impactful, we don't think, in physical reality than see someone burn to death. So that's how hell was created. The heaven part of it is like when you cross over and you're back with those energies that you care about. There's a warm, fuzzy, warm, fuzzy feeling and a sense of well-being when one is connected in that positive fashion. So man has designated the heaven and hell items. What actually happens is that you go into a non-physical, non-linear space. You deal with your guides. You go through the review. And it's a fluid space and it's neutral. So that you don't immediately go to heaven or, quote, hell. You never really go to hell. That is a man-made, contrived scenario meant to scare people into behaving. Now, if you were 5 years old and you saw this and your parents said to you, misbehave and this is what's going to happen to you, go against the church, this is what's going to happen to you, not honoring whoever was in charge, this is what's going to happen to you, impactful when you're 5, quite impactful when you're 30. So it was a magnificent way to control the populace, but it created that hell moment. And when people said, well, if you don't behave, you're going to spend eternity in hell, what they were saying was that you're going to burn forever. Just like you saw that person on the hill burning to death and how horrible that was, it never stops if you go to your grave with, bad things or disrespectful things on your plate. So heaven and hell was man-made.